Welcome to AGORACOM, the Small Cap Epicenter and AGORACOM TV, a daily, fast-paced, edgy show bringing the best press releases out of the small cap world at the open so you can hopefully profit from them and maybe even find your next great small cap investment. Now, it's Wednesday, July the 16th. I've got three great press releases for you from both sides of the border. Resources are dominating the day today. It's just one of those days. Let's start you off first with Legend International Holdings. They trade on the OTC under the stock symbol LGDI. This is an AGORACOM client. Got to disclose that. But this news definitely stands on its own 2 feet. They're announcing today a landmark agreement with IFFCO, which is India's largest fertilizer enterprise. This is a pretty detailed press release with great facts in here. So let me give you a little context first and start you off with who is IFFCO. They're India's largest fertilizer enterprise. They're cooperative, more than 50 million farmers associated with it. They've got 5 fertilizer plants in India with domestic annual capacity of 4.3 million tons of phosphate fertilizers and 4.2 million tons of nitrogenous fertilizers. So this is obviously an incredibly big partner to have. Give you a little more context. Back on May the 5th, the two parties announced a long-term offtake agreement for a minimum of 3 million tons annually, but there were to be some terms released. Looks like this is what's happening today. 4 important points to get out of this press release. First, IFFCO signs the principles of the offtake agreement with Legend for phosphate rock. The price of the rock will reflect the market price of long-term international supply agreements to the Indian market. So it looks like they're setting prices too. IFFCO will provide both technical and financial facilitation to Legend in the development of the phosphate mining and shipment of the product to India. Point number 3. Through the exercise of 30 million options ranging from $2.50 to $4 million and all closing within a 2-year period, LGDI will raise about $105 million to develop a project. So you're talking about IFFCO's taking 30 million options of the company, a great sign as to what they believe the future holds for this company. And finally, the managing director of IFFCO, Dr. Awashti, is to join the board of Legend International Holdings. So a significant entanglement and tie-in between these two organizations. LGDI has the phosphate rock. IFFCO obviously has the farming co-op to make it all happen. So there's a great agreement. How big is the phosphate project held by LGDI? Well, earlier this year they announced a scoping study that called for, listen to this, $1.7 billion in annual profits at a price of phosphate rock of $400 per ton, which was what the price was at that time of the year. This came out from the leading business consultancy in the fertilized sector over the last 50 years, British Sulphur, so you know you can rely on that scoping study. Big news out of LGDI. Good for them. They closed yesterday at $3.10. That's LGDI on the OTC. Next up, switching over to TSX, Alexis Minerals trades over there on the stock symbol AMC. They announced that they poured 5,000 ounces of gold to become the world's newest gold producer. They've entered into the early stages of gold production. Really proud that they're the world's newest gold producer. They produce a total of about 5,047 ounces to be exact. Commercial production is going to begin in October of 2008. Commercial production is defined to be 3 months of consecutive production at a rate of 60% of the planned production rate. Full production expected by Q4 2008. What are their targets? 17,000 ounces of gold in 2008 with an annual run rate of 36,000 ounces of gold in 2009 and subsequent years. Great news out of Alexis. They closed yesterday at 56 cents. Just off their 56 cents, just off their 52-week low of 54 cents. So that may be a good entry point. As always, do your own due diligence, but that definitely is good news for them. And finally, Mawson Resources, the trades both on the TSX under MAW and for our friends in Germany on the Frankfurt under MRY. They're announced that they're increasing the Klappenbacken resource by 51% to 3.3 million pounds of U3O8, better known as uranium. The Klappenbacken project is located in northern Sweden. This is a 51% increase to the 43101 technical report they issued on February 28th earlier this year. You know, on AGORACOM TV, we like that because that's real data that's filed with the authorities, so you can rely on that. We had a quote here out of Michael Hudson from Mawson who says, really long quote, just took an excerpt, mineralization remains open with strong potential for expansion and future work will be directed at defining the immediate extensions to mineralization and testing near surface targets. They closed yesterday at 88 cents, like a lot of companies, a lot of uranium companies in 2008. They took a bit of a beating. Their 52-week high is $2.40. They're now trading at 88 cents. But when you have a 43-101 and you're increasing that by 51%, that's a great start there for Mawson. That's a wrap. As always, if you're looking for more great small cap companies, don't forget about the AGORACOM marketplace. Close to 90 companies there listed by industry and exchange, so you can quickly find the one best suited for a portfolio. And for those of you who are watching this on our network partner, Globe Investor, off to my left here, you see a whole bunch of press releases, feature webcasts, feature stories, a lot of great news for you in leads in the small cap resource section. And to my immediate left here, you'll see there's actually a feature on Alan Berry of Alan Berry Reports, who's taking a look at base metals and diamonds. He's become one of the most well-respected newsletter writers, isn't compensated by companies in any way, shape, or form. One of the most respected newsletter writers out there. Take a look at that article that we posted. Great information for you there as well. That's a wrap. Have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.